Slides in over the line.
Welcome to All Things Sports Fantasy Edition. We are running down our love-hate list for each position, two each.
For week 6.
Week 6,
Yep.
yep, which is this week, which is right now, because tomorrow is the day.
Tomorrow's going to be
Yeah.
most of the games.
So, with that being said, let's start off with quarterbacks, and tell us who you love this week.
This week, I have my love. I have Ryan Fitzpatrick versus the Jets.
Mhm.
He's been playing incredible. The offense has been humming. The Jets haven't been able to really stop anybody.
Yep.
So he's a good pickup, especially like in some leagues, he's still on the waiver wire.
Yeah.
Or you were able to pick him up last week. So if you
Yeah.
have a quarterback on a bye or you get a quarterback struggling, or if you had Dak Prescott who just got hurt, he'd be a great, start.
Yeah.
I also have Matthew Stafford at Jacksonville.
I do too.
So, yeah, I mean, they're coming off of a bye.
Jacksonville's allowing 33 points a game to quarterbacks.
Yeah.
So
they've been giving up huge
Yeah.
points to the quarterback, and Stafford.
Stafford throws a lot.
And they're coming off a bye, Detroit.
Yes.
So they're well rested. They got Galladay back.
Yeah.
Everybody's mostly healthy.
Yeah.
So they're ready to roll.
I mean, Stafford's already a consistent boom bust, but mostly boom player anyway. He's not consistent with it, but he has a lot of big scoring fantasy games because Detroit loves to throw. So this will be his week.
Okay. So I have Fitzpatrick and Stafford. You also have
My
Stafford.
other love.
So who's your other
my
love?
love is Kirk Cousins versus Atlanta, the 32nd ranked pass defense in the NFL by a long shot.
Yeah, I have that as my highest scoring game of the week.
Yeah.
Going to be flush with
They're-
fantasy points.
They're averaging almost 37 points a game to quarterbacks.
Yeah. That
So-
whole game is going to be crazy
Yeah.
fantasy points, and then points in general. In
Yeah.
real life.
Check
too.
this out. Next week, the Lions play them.
Yep.
That's going to be even crazier. So Stafford might have a good 2 weeks coming up for him.
Yep.
So that's my love.
Yeah.
Who do you hate?
For hate, I have Teddy Bridgewater for Chicago. Now, Bridgewater has been great so far this year, but Chicago's defense is really good, and I just think that he's going to come back down to earth a bit.
Yep.
That's what I think.
I also have, before you go to your next one, I might as well just say I also have Bridgewater
Oh, okay.
on my hate list. And for the same reason, Chicago gets a lot of pressure on quarterbacks. They're forced to throw early and quick. They can't extend plays. They're only allowing 13 points a game to quarterbacks.
Yeah, they got a great pass rush. Their whole
Yeah.
defense is good, so
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a tough matchup for him.
Yeah.
My other hate, I have Carson Wentz versus the Ravens. All of his wide receivers are banged up. Ertz hasn't been playing well. Their best offensive lineman is out, which is really going to hurt them. And then you have the Ravens defense, which is good. So who's your other hate for
My other
QB?
hate. So check this out. The right now, statistically showing the best defense in the NFL is the most unlikely team, the Colts. The Colts are killing it this year. Run game and pass game. Joe Burrow versus the Colts this week. Joe Burrow's been pretty good. He's been a pretty decent quarterback. He's been showing up. But the Colts are just allowing 13 points a game to quarterbacks.
Wow.
So I think that Burrow's going to show some rookie tendencies in this game, and I think
Yeah, Burrows has definitely been startable in
He's been
fantasy,
great.
so a lot of people have been starting him.
Yeah.
So this is probably a week where if you have another good option, because
Yeah.
Burrow was like a late round pick or undrafted in
Right.
fantasy leagues.
Right.
So if you have another QB, you probably want to bench
might be
Burrow
better,
and play the other quarterback.
Now 13 points. He might go over that. He might be the
Yeah.
one to go over that average. But I don't know if he's going to crack 20.
Me personally, that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking for 20 plus out of my QB.
Yes.
Anything less
20
than 20,
plus, not just 20.
yeah,
20
no,
plus.
20 plus. Yeah.
Yes.
So if I get anything less than 20, I'm
bad game.
upset with my QB.
Yeah, me too.
Anything plus, 20 plus, I'm going to be happy. If I get just 20, I'm going to be a little disappointed.
Yeah.
But that's my floor, what I'm looking for.
Yes.
At least 20, but I really want to be like 25, 30.
Yeah.
Of course, as many as you want. You want to get as much points as you can, but
Yeah.
I'm looking for a 20 plus out of a QB.
Right.
All right, let's move to running back.
Yes. I'll start with my love.
Okay.
Gaskin. Gaskin's been great, dude. He came out of nowhere, basically, and he took over that backfield that was literally it looked like a three-headed monster with Jordan Howard and
Matt Breida.
Yeah, Matt Breida.
And then Gaskin, yep.
So Gaskin kind of took over. He's getting double-digit carries every week, 12 to 15 carries a week. He's also catching 4 or 5 passes every game.
Yep.
He looks like he's a RB2, but this week he's playing against the Jets, who are the 28th ranked rush defense in the league. So I think he'll put up some RB1 points this week.
I also have Myles Gaskin as a
Cool.
love. So same reasons.
Yeah.
He's been awesome. Early in the season, he was getting poached at the goal line by Howard, but now he's actually getting most of the goal line
I
touches.
forgot to mention that. You're right.
Yep. So, that was the one worry with him, and now you don't really have to worry about that anymore.
Yep.
So he's getting tons of carries, tons of
And
targets in the passing game.
he dodged a Le'Veon Bell bullet, too.
Yep. So he's looking good.
Yeah.
Who's your other love for running back?
Robinson.
James Robinson.
James Robinson playing against Detroit this week, who is allowing 33 points per game to running backs.
Yeah. Robinson had a great matchup last week and struggled, so I think that's a good call that he's going to rebound this week.
Yes. Yeah, that's another thing. I was going to say this will be his rebound week because you're right. Yeah.
And then so we both agreed on Gaskin. My other love for running back, Alexander Madison.
Okay.
Dalvin Cook is out.
Starting, yeah.
It's a great matchup. We already talked about that game, the Vikings and Falcons. It's going to be a shootout. It's going to be both offenses.
Madison can catch too.
Both offenses are good.
Yeah.
Both defenses are awful. With Cook out, Madison's actually a great running back.
Madison's
he's
actually
been stuck behind Cook.
That's what I'm saying. He's literally a great backup for Cook because he sort of has the same role.
Yeah.
So when Cook's out, Madison comes in, and it's almost like they don't even skip a beat.
They don't skip a beat. Yeah, he's actually so talented that even when Cook is healthy, he doesn't get enough touches when Cook's healthy to be fantasy viable, but you can see how talented he is, that they can't keep him off the field completely.
Right.
So if you were a Dalvin Cook owner, I hope you handcuffed, with Madison.
He's a great handcuff.
And if you the Dalvin Cook owner didn't handcuff, well, then I hope you were able to grab Madison, and until Cook comes back, he's going to be a great play.
Not every running back, every 3-down running back has a good handcuff. A lot of times when a running back goes down, teams will go right to a committee approach.
Yeah.
But there's certain teams like Carolina with
Mike
Davis, great handcuff.
Yep.
Another great handcuff, which hasn't happened yet, but it could happen. Pollard.
For Zeke, yeah.
Yeah, he's a great handcuff.
Yeah.
And then here, Madison. But like I said, a lot of teams don't have that monster handcuff.
That is my philosophy with handcuffing. When there is a clear-cut backup running back, I handcuff.
Yeah.
Always, always, always. Yeah. So, like you just said, you have Mike Davis. I would definitely handcuff him with McCaffrey.
Right.
You have Pollard for handcuffing Zeke. You have...
But then you got teams like the Chargers who what's his name goes down. Eckler goes down, and they go right to the committee approach.
Yep.
They kind of split carries.
So,
I'm not saying that they're going to be bad. Pick one of those players.
In one of my leagues, I have Zeke. I drafted Pollard, definitely.
Yeah, of course.
Another league, I have Mixon. I handcuff with Bernard.
Yeah.
Whenever Mixon or the starting running back has been out, Bernard has actually been a monster.
Bernard's whole career has been. That's the story of his whole career.
Every time he's a monster
he
handcuff.
comes in RB1 for a little while, then goes away, and then comes back, comes away. That's Bernard. Gio Bernard is actually a good.
On the other end of the spectrum, in my one league, I had Barkley. I didn't handcuff because you have Gallman, you have Deion Lewis, and then they grabbed Freeman.
Yeah, like
now,
I said, one of those
when
teams
I
that go to committee
drafted,
approach.
Freeman was a free agent, so there wasn't an option of handcuffing with Freeman.
Yeah,
but it was just kind of a split backfield. So. All right, let's move to hate for running back. Go ahead.
I think we both have Joe Mixon on our list.
No, I don't.
Okay, I got Joe Mixon on my list. Same reason as before, Indy. I had Joe Burrow on my hate list. Now I really do think Cincinnati's going to struggle against Indy's defense. Indy's defense has been showing that they are very capable of stopping offenses altogether.
I have Mixon starting in one of my leagues, and obviously I have to start him. He's been great, but I have been worried about him. I did get a little bit of good news, though. The Colts' best defender is out this week, Darius Leonard.
Yeah.
So that does help a bit.
Right.
Because he is
It
an
does.
all-around linebacker. He can rush the passer. He can cover. He's a great tackler. He is one of the best linebackers in the league.
No,
So
I agree.
But their defense as a whole is still good.
That's what I'm saying. They've been such a good defense
But that's a
all
bright
around where I don't think it's going to kill them.
No, but it's definitely going to make a difference.
Especially in the run game.
You can't replace Leonard.
Yeah.
You just can't. So that I still think that Mixon's going to have a tough game, but I think it has definitely gotten a little bit easier for him with Leonard out. Who's your other?
Miles
eight?
Sanders versus Baltimore.
I have Miles Sanders as well.
That's what we agree on.
Yep. Like I said, we talked about the Eagles before. Their best offensive lineman is out. Their receivers are all hurt. Ertz has been struggling. The Ravens, that's going to be their number one focus. Stop Sanders. He's really their only weapon right now. So,
Well, Ertz has been getting shadowed and covered every single game.
but what I'm saying is
So
he's
it's
been
gonna
struggling.
They're going to
so
have to cover. Well, they're going to continue that.
Yeah.
But they're also going to look at Sanders.
they're going to
and
stack the
that's it.
box the entire game.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
with their best offensive lineman missing the Eagles and the Ravens stacking the box the entire game,
Yeah.
it's going to be tough for Sanders. Now
Right.
don't get me wrong. If you have Miles Sanders, you almost definitely have to start him.
Yeah.
But just temper your expectations
Right.
because it's a really tough matchup and it's gotten worse with their best lineman being
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
So we both agreed on Sanders. My other hate for running back is Devin Singletary.
Yeah.
So
It's not a bad.
here's the thing.
Moss is coming back, right?
Moss is most likely coming
Yeah.
back. And if the Bills get behind big, they're going to have to abandon the run. Even when they've been playing well, though, this is my thing. I actually like Singletary. I think he's super talented. But even when they've been doing well and being ahead, they've been abandoning the run in the second half,
No.
which hurts his value in
Yeah.
that sense.
Yeah.
So that's my hate. I just think it's going to be a tough matchup, and they've just been
he's
misusing him.
He's
I
a
think
good goal line back, good between the tackles back. He can catch balls.
he's got to catch the ball.
He's a decent running back. He's just not. He's not like you don't feel safe about playing him
Yeah.
every week,
And
week in,
I
week
think
out.
they've been
And
misusing him.
I don't think you're wrong about this week about him. I don't think he's going to have a monster game. I don't
Yeah.
think he's even going to. I probably don't even think. I don't even know if he'll get 12 points.
Yeah, I was
Maybe
thinking maybe
10.
10 points.
Yeah.
Which will be a little bit under what he's projected. I think
Yeah,
he's
I would
projected
agree.
around 15.
I would agree with that.
So all right. So then now we can go to wide
receiver.
You want to go ahead with your
So
loves?
I got two interesting picks at wide receiver. All right. First one, Claypool. Now, I know he had a monster game last week, and that's not why I picked him to love this week. The reason why I picked him as a love this week is he's playing against Cleveland, who's allowing 47 points per game to wide receivers. And here's the thing. Claypool, when he had before the bye, he was kind of just number 3, number 2. You couldn't really tell what he's just kind of getting rotated into the mix. Opposite of
well, he was the third wide
Schuster.
receiver
Yeah.
behind Schuster and Deontay Johnson.
right. So he was kind of not getting as many looks off the bye. He comes off to the bye, and all of a sudden he got 12 targets. It wasn't just a fluke game. It wasn't like he threw. It wasn't like a lot of times you see a receiver like that catch 3 passes for 60 yards, and that's it. They didn't do anything else in the whole game, and they had a monster game because of a couple of huge passes. And he was on the field for most of the game.
Yeah,
he had
so-
12 targets. It looked like after the bye week that they sort of changed their game plan a little bit, and now he's being involved more.
Well, Deontay Johnson got hurt.
And that's what I'm saying.
That's
Deontay
why.
Johnson got hurt, and it's the same situation
He
now.
wasn't playing, pretty much at all until Deontay Johnson got hurt.
But what I'm saying
so
is-
now
and that's-
Deontay Johnson was already ruled
I
out.
meant to
So
say
it's a
that.
great
I
pick.
meant to say that. I forgot to say that. I meant to say that's what I'm saying. He was getting rotated in as a third receiver, and then after the bye with Thompson out.
Well, Johnson got hurt in the beginning of the game. So
Right.
he wasn't playing early on, and then that opened
Okay,
things up.
whatever.
And then he's been great, and now he's ruled out already. So a lot of people, I was worried. I thought a lot of people were going to pick up Claypool and then play him right away. And then if Deontay Johnson would have came back from injury, he probably would have, he wouldn't have got the same amount of looks. But with Deontay Johnson out, Claypool's set up for another big game.
That's what I'm
So
saying.
I agree with you. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Claypool was part of that offense. It wasn't a fluke. He got 12
He
targets.
just needed the opportunity.
He got the opportunity. He shined in the opportunity, and now he's playing against a terrible pass defense. So the stars are aligned for Claypool to have another big game.
Yep, I agree. Yeah,
My
the biggest building block was Deontay Johnson. He's ruled out again, so you're
Yeah.
good to go.
Right. And like I said,
Who's your other?
my other love is Larry Fitzgerald. Okay. Now I know he's the number 3 receiver on that team right now, but He's been involved. He's getting 5, maybe sometimes 6 targets in a game, sometimes just low, maybe 3 to 4 targets a game. He has a couple games where he had 5 catches. He's playing against Dallas, and they're allowing 47 points per game to opposing wide receivers. I wouldn't be surprised. And for Fitzgerald to be on a love list, to me, that's like 15 points because he's usually not.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's usually barely cracking 8 or 9. So I think he's going to double that this week.
Yeah, that's an interesting pick. For love for wide receiver, I have Calvin Ridley and Justin Jefferson. They're actually playing against, not directly against each other, but their teams are playing against each other.
That's a good pick.
I just think that both up-and-coming, super talented receivers, and they're getting the looks, they're getting the targets, and that neither of those defenses, that like we've talked about that game already with the Falcons and the Vikings. It's going to be a shootout. Neither defense can stop anybody. Both offenses are great. So I just see them both set up for a huge game.
Right. Yeah, Jefferson, he's I don't know if it's going to consistently be a huge player every week, but I think he's going to slowly turn into a starting like Diggs. He'll be the Diggs. He's
Yeah.
going right. He's jumping right into Diggs' role, and he's showing up.
Absolutely,
and
I
he's making
agree.
plays.
Yep.
So I think you're right. I think that's another big week for him.
All right, so go to your hate for wide receivers.
Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper, he's the story of his career. Monster game, terrible game. Monster game, terrible game. Arizona, he's him versus Pat Peterson. Patrick Peterson can. That's the thing about Amari Cooper is the games where he doesn't do well is when he gets shadowed or double covered. And this is a situation where it's just written all over it. Cooper's not going to have his monster. I think you're going to see a lot more of CeeDee Lamb. And I don't even think CeeDee Lamb's going to have a good game either. I think Arizona's pass coverage in general is solid. So I don't know about starting any of the Cowboys receivers in this game.
Who's your other hate?
But I'm not even done yet. The biggest reason is quarterback.
Yeah, so here's the thing. Here's my worry with Amari Cooper.
Cooper's not going to. Yeah.
Cooper's going to see most likely shadow from Peterson.
Right.
And although I think that Dalton is one of the better backups in the league,
Yeah.
we haven't really seen him with the Cowboys enough to know is he gonna have chemistry with the receivers? Is he gonna look good with them? We only saw him fill in for a part of the game when Dak got hurt in the second half.
But we also know for sure who Dalton is as a quarterback. He's a quarterback who can throw. He's got a good arm. He also throws a lot of picks. He also
Yeah, but he's a good
backup.
I just want to see him play a whole game
Yeah.
in that offense to see.
Yeah.
So I would be worried right now. If you have Amari Cooper, there's a very good chance you can't bench him, but I would temper your expectations, and you want to hope that he has good chemistry with Dalton. So, yeah, I agree with that. I'm worried about that.
My other pick, Deebo Samuel, against the Rams. Rams, pretty good, pretty decent against the pass. I just, I don't know. I just don't like the matchup.
Yeah, I mean, he's just coming back from injury, so they've been kind of easing
And
him
that
in to
too.
begin with.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would definitely tell people to bench Debo. You know, I would not want to start him unless you absolutely have to.
Yeah.
If you're decimated by injuries and you got guys on bye, you might have to, but most likely there might even be a guy on the waiver you'd be better off playing. Until Debo is back to 100% and he's in football shape and they're feeding him targets and he's playing all the snaps, you kind of want to keep him on the bench.
Too, or is just
No, I don't have
just
him on my
agree?
hate list. I have him on my bench in one of my leagues.
Yeah.
So I have no interest in playing him until he's back to football shape.
That's a pretty obvious
And
one.
they're giving him the targets and he's playing all the
Well,
snaps.
the reason why I had him on my list. I know a lot of people would say that's an obvious one, but
he's a big
They have him
name.
projected pretty high.
Yeah, he's
I
a
think
big
like
name.
15 points.
Yeah,
on
they got a
ESPN.
decent projection.
So
on him.
I just don't think that.
I don't think it might be obvious to us, but not to most people.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things where I would keep him on the bench until he's getting his normal workload. Because he's a guy who is usually on the field the entire time with the
Entire game,
offense.
right.
He's getting carries, end arounds, all types
He's
of.
a true number one.
Yeah, so that's good. So for my hate, I have DJ Moore versus Chicago. We already talked about that. Chicago has a good defense. I think that Teddy might struggle. I think that the whole team might struggle. I think it's going to be more of like a struggle game. I don't see a ton of points in that game.
Yeah.
And DJ Moore, another worry with him is even though he had a big touchdown last week and he had a big game, Robbie Anderson's getting more targets.
Yeah, Robbie Anderson's a better receiver. Yes. No, I mean,
I don't know if I agree with
when
that.
he came
but
into the league, he was. They said right away, this is the best play. This is the best receiver in the AFC East when he went to the Jets. He got riddled with injuries, But if he can come back and be who he's supposed to be,
Yeah.
watch out, dude. He's
I
gonna be
mean,
he'll be the number one in
Moore
that team.
has been a great receiver since he's got drafted into the league, and I think he's super
He's been pretty
talented.
good, yeah.
But Teddy and Anderson have more chemistry.
Yeah.
So that's why you're seeing him, Teddy, look Anderson's way every time. That's why you're seeing more targets go to Anderson. So talent-wise, I think they're both super talented. But in right now, I would rather have Robbie Anderson. So for my second hate for wide receiver, I have Odell Beckham Jr. at Steelers. Now, a lot of people might be like, what? You know, OBJ has been great lately, and I agree, he has been. But he's been ill all week.
And the matchup's amazing.
It's a great matchup. He's been ill all week, and they finally did clear him this morning, so
Yeah.
he's good to go. But I just think if he was questionable and he's been sick and they weren't sure, I feel like he's not going to be 100%.
Well, yeah, and because the nature of OBJ to begin with, he's very on and off. He's like Amari Cooper in a lot of ways.
He's got big games and then he disappears.
I'm not gonna. Yeah, I can't. I can't totally disagree with you on that. I am starting him. I have him
I would too if I had him.
just
I'd
because
probably
I
start him. but
love the matchup, and I'm just hoping
Yeah.
that the it's like I said. I can't disagree with you on the illness thing. I have to factor that in. But I'm just hoping that it wasn't a major setback. I'm hoping that he's fine.
So I just think that he's not going to be 100%. And don't get me wrong, you most likely have to start him. I'm just saying I think he might fall short of expectations. I think it's going to be a dogfight that game. I think it might be more of a defensive running game. So that's just those games between Pittsburgh and Cleveland are just always dogfights.
Yeah.
So I just think that it might not be as pass-centered, and with him being ill, who knows? They could just use him as a decoy. I mean, he could have a big game, but he's just one of those guys where he is exactly like you said. You were exactly right. He's like Amari Cooper. Have a couple big games, and then he'll disappear.
Yeah.
And I'll have a big game, then he'll disappear. And so his consistency's a little bit off. All right, let's go to our final. We got our tight ends, love and hate. Who do you have for tight ends, love?
Kyle Rudolph. Kyle Rudolph's been sort of a no factor this year, but the matchup is so juicy versus Atlanta. So I think he finds the end zone this week. I think it's going to be such a high-scoring game that Rudolph will find the end zone. He'll get you a nice game, nice 15-point game, something like that, compared to his 5 to 8 points every week that he's been so far this year.
Yeah, I like Rudolph. He's a super talented player. He's a great target.
Yeah.
So the matchup, I think you're right. If he gets in the end zone, he'll put up a good stat line.
Yeah.
Who do you have for your other one?
My other one's Evan Ingram.
Okay, nice.
Against Washington, and he's a super talented tight end that you think that you almost wish that he becomes the tight end one that he's supposed to be.
Yeah.
But the matchup's great. I think this will be his week.
Evan Ingram, he is so talented, and he could be a top 5 tight end easily, but he also disappears a lot.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's the offense or the play calling or what it is.
Yeah,
but
the
he could
talent's there.
definitely, with the matchup, he could definitely blow up.
Right.
For my love for tight end, I have Jonnu Smith at Houston. Him and Tannehill they have a really good connection. I mean, when not only does Jonnu Smith have the athletic ability to put up big plays and long touchdowns, but also when they're in the red zone, Tannehill looks for him constantly.
Yeah.
You see he's always probably read 1 or 2, especially in the red zone. So I think he's had already 2 games with multiple touchdowns.
Yeah.
And so I have Jonnu Smith at Houston, and then I have T.J. Hawkinson at Detroit. He's on Detroit versus Jacksonville. It's a good matchup.
Another talented tight end.
Yep,
too.
super talented. He's a high draft pick. The Detroit's coming off the bye, so they're well rested. Jacksonville's defense has not been good, and really, if you look at other than Galladay, Hawkinson's probably the number 2 target in that offense when it comes to the passing game. You could argue Marvin Jones, but it seems like Hawkinson's been getting steady, 5+ targets, 4 or 5 catches at least every single game.
Yeah.
So if he can get in the end zone, he can put up, 15, 20 points easily.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to tight end hate. Who do you have?
Austin Hooper, and I know he's not been great this year, but
They haven't projected high.
They haven't projected high. They haven't projected in like the top 5, I think.
Yeah.
For ESPN. But the matchup, Pittsburgh is only allowing 9 points a game to opposing tight ends, and he's barely been getting 9 points a game himself. So I can't even see him even eclipsing that or even getting close to that.
And Njoku's back. And they have another tight end that they like. I forget his name. So
Yeah,
it's not even like he's.
I don't know, man.
I agree with that. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm surprised he's so highly projected. I think it's just because tight end after the top couple guys just completely falls off.
Yeah.
So I think that's. I agree with you there. I think that Hooper might struggle. I could see him easily scoring 5 points or less.
Yes. My other one's Jimmy Graham. He's playing Carolina, and it doesn't seem like such a big deal at first. But then you look at how Carolina's been against tight ends, only 8 points a game.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's
that's a
even
good
worse
call.
of a situation than Austin Hooper. Jimmy Graham's been great this year. And not like the best or not like a top 5 play, but he's
been good, though.
He's been
Yeah,
a starting
he's been a
caliber
starter.
tight end. And I
Absolutely.
just think he's going to take a step back this week. And I think, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
I agree with you there. Yeah, he has been doing really well, though. He kind of revived his career a little bit, but
Yeah.
I think he might struggle this week. All right, so for my tight end hates, I have Tyler Higbee at San Francisco.
Yeah, I
San
can't
Francisco's got a
disagree with
good
that.
defense, and also I don't know what's going on, but lately Higbee had like the tight end one role locked up, but lately they've been
Yeah.
using Gerald Everett a lot.
Yep.
So
It's sad.
his
I
targets
dro-
are
I-
disappearing.
I dropped Higbee after trading for him.
Yeah, he's almost at that point. I dropped him in a league also. He went from being a stud tight end, a tight end one lock, to his snaps have been greatly reduced. His targets have been greatly reduced. I mean, all of it. It's just
You know
like
when I
he's
thought about it
disappearing.
at first, I couldn't figure out why he's been so good. Why can't they just give him? It's because Everett's on the field more because he's a good blocker, and he just happens to be on the field more, so he's obviously gonna have
Oh,
better,
yeah.
more opportunity.
And that depends. The coaches
Higbee's
and
more just a
the
receiving tight
offensive
end.
play callers, that matters to a lot of them.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to tip their hand.
Yep.
With Everett, you don't know if it's a pass or a
Higbee
run.
was a basketball player in college.
With Higbee, you
He's
kind
a
of know
very
it's a pass.
talented, very
Yeah.
athletic player. But he's just not the blocker. They need a blocker. They need
Yep.
someone to block, so he's not on the field as much.
They do that with running backs too sometimes. Like
Yes.
if you're just a straightly passing back, then that tips the hand to what you're going to call on offense.
Right.
So a lot of the play callers, they prefer a guy who can do both. So you don't know. The defense has no idea what you're going to do.
Right.
So I agree with you there. My other hate is Zach Ertz versus the Ravens. Ertz has been struggling to begin with. He's been getting a lot of targets, but he just hasn't been producing. A lot of it is Wentz. Wentz has been off lately. He's throwing it high, throwing it low, throwing it right, throwing it left. He's just been missing Ertz a lot.
Yeah.
And we talked about it earlier. They're missing the
They're
only
actually-
thing I could think
They're
of.
actually lowering Ertz's projection every week, little by little.
Yeah.
It's down to 10 points now,
So
but it's still high for what he's been doing, though.
for what he's been,
So I
it's
can't
name
argue.
value.
I
Yeah.
can't say that I can argue against that. He's going to be better than that because he hasn't done it yet. He hasn't shown it yet. He's not.
Yeah.
The targets aren't there.
It's surprising because
I can't. Yeah, I can't argue.
I
against
was
that.
worried before the year about Ertz, but only because of Goddard. So when Goddard went down, I'm like, oh, Ertz is going to blow up. He's got the tight end role all to himself.
And now, but here's the thing, though, and you're right. That was my issue too. I actually drafted both to see what would happen, and then Goddard went down, so I ended up going, okay, cool, I got this. But here's the thing, though, with all the injuries at wide receiver, with what's his name, Jackson and
and Jeffrey,
Jeffrey.
all of them, yeah.
they're double. Ertz is getting covered by the number one corner or double covered by the nickel.
Yeah.
And he's getting shut down in every game.
Yeah, it's not a talent thing. It's not an opportunity thing. He's getting the targets
Yeah.
and he's super talented, but since all the receivers are out,
getting
they're
shut
able to
down.
focus on
Yeah,
him.
if you watch the game, it's hard to watch.
Yeah.
Because you just see him getting shut down
And
completely.
that's why I had Miles Sanders on my hate list too for running back.
Yeah.
The Ravens defense, all they have to do is worry about Sanders and Ertz.
That's it.
So-
So that's not that hard to do when you have a
Yep.
super good.
They're gonna double team Ertz, and then they're gonna stack the box. They're gonna put 8 men in the box the entire game to shut down Miles Sanders in the running game.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's gonna be. We'll see what happens. I mean, the only thing I could think of is if Ertz gets a bunch of quick dump offs and screens because their line is banged up. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
All right, guys, that was our fantasy edition, all things sports. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and thank you for watching. God bless you, and God bless America.